I make myself
I'll try
smaller.
that. Okay.
Oh,
That's okay.
that's okay because you have the microphone. Hi, we are live already. Now I need to check my Instagram if we go live also on Instagram. I need to
Okay.
click here and there and then also on the Facebook. This is really funny actually because I have already set my audience into public on Facebook, but still it turns into friends only. So, but if you cannot watch us, please go to our Instagram and also our LinkedIn. So, welcome to 100 Days Live Podcast, and you are with me, Sonia from Live Podcast Media, and here tonight I have a very special guest, and she's my biggest supporter as a guest expert and guest expert speaker, but also she has been sponsoring me and Live Podcast Media from the beginning. I started live streaming. I know I'm a dreamer, but because of someone like Jodie Krangle, you know, the WordCast voiceover actor, then I can do this, you see. And then thank you also for all of the sponsors who have been supporting me. Ecam Network, Katie Fox, and I'm using Ecam right now for 100 Days Live
Mhm.
podcast. And also Todd Cochran from Blueberry, expert in you, and Carden, thank you so much. And then of course Mark Stinson from Bioscience Bridge, and of course Rob Greenlee, who has been my great mentor. And Jody, how have you been? Thank you so much for being here. Today our
I've been really
discussion
good.
will be a little bit serious.
That's okay. I'm here for it.
Thank you so much. I know that before this, I told you that I would like to interrogate you, right? To talk about content creation because you see, not only because of your voiceovers that I love your voice, but also about your content creation. You interview many amazing people, and I see that your contents are really different, but they are special. You know what I mean? And most
Mhm.
of the discussion with your guest expert speakers, mostly I haven't known before, or also a new thing for me, or that I cannot find in details on the other interview. So please share with us today about the content creation because these days, from the opening, the very beginning, we talk about the content creation on 100 Days Live podcast, right? And then some days I already talk about brand message and then how to create the signature series for live streaming and podcasting, and then also how to create the brand story and turn it into content. So I would like to ask you about your secret to do this.
Oh, my
This is the
secret
best
is
example.
outsourcing.
So you
Yeah.
don't do it.
Um,
You don't do it by yourself. You don't do everything by
I do
yourself, right?
not. No, I choose the guests. So
Mm-hmm.
I make sure that I have guests on the podcast who are very well known or very well versed
Mm-hmm.
in the areas of sound
Mm-hmm.
and how it influences us. That's what I talk about on the podcast. It's called
Mm-hmm.
Audio Branding. And I
Mm-hmm.
talk about the power of sound and how it influences us. A lot of that is in buying decisions, but it also
Mm-hmm.
has to do with our daily lives too.
Mm-hmm.
So when I create a piece of content, it's all focused around that. It's focused
Mm-hmm.
around how does this fit in with the idea that sound is powerful?
Mm-hmm.
And I always open all of my interviews with my guests by asking them if they have a really powerful memory of how sound moved them in their early life. So we talk about that. That's how the setting is made for the whole entire podcast discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And we go from there. And I talk with all sorts of different people. So I talk with podcasters. I've talked with Todd. I've talked with Rob. I've talked with Dave Jackson.
Yeah.
A bunch of these people that you would know, Alex Sanfilippo, who you would know as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I haven't
Yeah, so
interviewed
I've
San
talked.
Filippo. I haven't interviewed Alex, not yet.
He's great. He's
I
fantastic. It's a
know,
really
I
good
know. I
discussion to
haven't
have
got
with
the
him.
chance
Yeah,
to have him on my show. I have to interrogate him to
eventually.
that or ask him first.
Yeah.
I will.
So I talk with podcasters, but I also talk
Mhm.
with people who make audio branding
Mhm.
identities.
Mhm.
And a lot of that is it's a big umbrella of sound for a company that brands them with their audio, not
Mhm.
just their visual.
Mhm.
So I talk with people who do that, people who work in advertising and branding and marketing, and people who work in healthcare and sound. I've had, people talk about the beeps in hospitals and how they're killing
Yes.
us.
Yes.
And music therapy and things like ASMR and binaural beats and all of this interesting stuff in sound that can calm us and make our lives better and all of this kind of thing. So when content is created, it is all around a certain theme. And like I said, I do have a lot of help. So my audio and video editor, his name is Umberto Franco. He is a
Mhm.
fellow voice talent from Portugal
Oh yeah, yeah.
who does an excellent, excellent job.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he puts together the both the audio and the video has been gradually improving as we learn more. And it's all on our YouTube channel, which is you can look it up under Jody Krangle VO. And then I have my social media marketing manager, who a woman named Lisa. She does a
Mhm.
fantastic job, and she is the person who's behind all of the graphics.
Mhm.
So she also takes care of the YouTube channel and she puts together the thumbnails and all of that. So it's very cohesive. We know what the look of it is, and we put out shorts every Monday on YouTube, and then on Wednesdays when I promote the new podcast, because it comes out every Wednesday morning, we put out those shorts in social media. So yeah, it's kind of a just a it, it's just like it just keeps going.
I don't
And
think so. I mean,
yeah,
it seems that you really plan very well. When you interview someone, it seems that it is really deep. So I don't believe you. It is just like keep going or something like that. That's why I really want to know the secret how you manage your interview that way, and then how do you get the what is it the guest expert speakers because I think that you it seems that you have already known them for a very long time. What about the new guest expert speakers or how do you search for them?
not a lot of them are well known to me before we actually talk. There are a
Oh.
few who I do know well,
Mm-hmm.
but several of them have reached out to me over Podmatch or
Mm-hmm.
Matchmaker FM, which I'm on, and some of them have just written emails to me, and I get a lot of just from general outreach. Although I will say that a lot of the companies that reach out to me in email have not done their research at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you probably get this as well, and a lot of people listening will probably get this as well. People reaching out to you to pitch a guest on your podcast who has
Yes, yes.
absolutely nothing to do with what you talk about.
Yes,
And
especially for me, I ask for the recommendation from other speakers, right? To know the other
yeah,
speakers who can be on my show, for example, Jody. So
mhm.
then I know now that you also do the same thing that actually you don't know them before
Oh yeah.
really interviewing. Do you have like many people also have the Google form or something like that, and then also to do the
Yeah.
interview first before going to what is it to go live streaming and podcasting.
Yeah, definitely. So I have a pre-chat, which can
Mhm.
be as long as 30 minutes. It can be 15 minutes, whatever. It's kind of a
Mhm.
placeholder. It depends on how long we decide we want to talk, but it's
Mhm.
a pre-chat. So we go through what I usually talk about in the podcast and then what they can expect from what will happen on the podcast.
Mhm.
And we kind of discuss a little bit of what their background is and what they would want to talk about that has to
Mhm.
do with sound. So I will jot down questions that are potential ones to ask them for the actual interview while we're
Mhm.
actually chatting in the pre chat. But I do a
Mhm.
lot of deep dive research on the client before client. They're not really a client, but the guest
Mhm.
before I actually do the interview because I don't ever want to get into that interview without knowing something about them
Mhm.
because I can't ask good questions unless I know a little about them. And our conversations end up being kind of philosophical in a way because I don't always focus on their latest offering, but I also ask them why they think sound is important or why people in their industry should pay attention to sound or what they would want to leave to future generations as far as their opinions on sound are concerned. So, where do they see their industry going? This kind of thing kind of leads
Mhm.
to interesting conversations. And and yeah, I mean, I like going there. So maybe the discussion is a little different from your normal, business podcast.
No, no, of course not. This is why we would like to know from the expert like you because everyone is different in their industry, right? And then
Mhm.
also, you see that I try to fit this Jody Kranger piece of cake voice over and focus, but then
Yeah,
because it's
it got
very long.
stuck.
Yeah, I cannot do
That's
the
okay.
enter. This is really nice though to see like this, and I cannot move my
It's
name.
all good.
That's why studio can be very different when we go live streaming, and people are scared to do this right because there are so many technical things that we should do. It's like learning
Yeah.
by doing. Even though no matter how we prepare it, then sometimes it disappear. I already put it, but then I didn't know where it was, so something like that, Jody. And
Sure. Yeah.
interviewing those kind of people, I mean, they are really, really amazing people. I know that you really select them, right? And then you do the interview first, like the calling or chatting, like 15 minutes before. And what about
And
if
I do have
someone doesn't fit to your what is it, to your podcast? Are you going
well,
to cancel it or
usually
you tell them straightforward, or I don't have a heart to do that after interviewing because I don't do the interview yet. That's why maybe I will not.
yeah, I don't do that's why I do pre-chats
Mhm.
because we can usually tell pretty quickly in a
Mhm.
pre-chat if it's going to work. And if it
Mhm.
doesn't, then no harm, no foul, right? We're
Mhm.
both busy people. I'm sure they have other people to talk to. And if
Mhm.
it isn't going to work, it isn't going to work. So typically, when I have a discussion with someone, I won't book in an interview unless I know it's a good fit.
I
And
understand.
in that case, and I don't know what other people do, but when I have that pre-chat with someone, I usually make sure that they book in the interview
Mhm.
through an intake form. I have an intake form, a Google form.
Yeah.
I make sure that they book it in at least 2 weeks after our discussion because I don't want anything that we discuss in the actual interview to be by rote. So I
Mhm.
don't want them to remember specifically what we spoke about in the pre-chat.
Mhm.
I'd rather that we come at it from a new perspective or after some time has passed so that we can both have a fresh look on things. So, yeah, that works really well for me. I have not really had anyone on the podcast in an actual interview that I have not released.
Mhm. So everyone becomes more famous also after being with you because you really select them.
I
And
don't know about that, but
come on, Jody. You know how I admire you. You are a world-class voice-over and focus, and then you have your podcast, and it is a very, very classy podcast, in my opinion. Right? Not everyone
I appreciate that.
can do that kind of discussion. I mean the depth, of the discussion about voice-overs, and I remember you talk about voice for our brand, also for my brand on our interview. Then I would like to discuss it further. And then yeah, it is really, really important for the live streamers, right? Especially the ones who present
Mhm.
themselves also as a brand, that they have special voice, and I am very happy that I have your voice for the opening. Then it will be easier for me to edit my podcast also. You see, it is a very, very luxurious voice you give me as a present for my podcast. So I'm very proud and then also grateful for that, and I thank you so much. And then what kind of
I'm glad to help.
and what are the steps that actually the influencers, content creators, entrepreneurs, professionals, sorry, should have for their brand?
Well, I think that you have to have a
Sorry.
very, well, it doesn't have to be polished. That's what I'm going to say. I
Yes.
think nowadays people really appreciate authenticity and
Yes.
being genuine. So if being polished isn't your thing, don't do
Mhm.
it. Just be you. So the way that I like to present myself is the way that I kind of am. So
Yeah,
that's
you mean
authentic for
million
me.
dollar, you a million dollar voice. That's why the authentic
Well,
air.
but I'm still being true to myself. I like being polished because
Mhm.
that sort of brings out my personality in a way,
Mhm.
like that is who I am.
Mhm.
And this color scheme again is very
Mhm.
much who I am. These are colors I wear all the time.
Very
So,
pinky, very feminine.
yeah, or well, burgundy, like the color
Burgundy.
of
Oh
my
yeah, I
glasses,
can
right?
see on
Yeah.
your microphone.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
the color of my
burgundy.
booth is, that's all it's all my branding. So the podcast reflects that and it reflects who I am as a person when we're talking. So I like to call it fun elegance, let's say. For me, that's kind of what I'm going for.
Mhm.
But, everyone has their own different brand and how they present themselves to the world and being polished isn't necessarily a part of that, and that is totally fine.
Mhm.
Uh, so be you is the first thing, and be true to what you are in your sound and in your visuals, and that will come across in your video and your sound. Um, Making sure that your audio is good quality, at least so that it doesn't hurt people's ears, is really important too. Um, I honestly, at this point, have absolutely no clue how this is coming across on the live stream. So maybe
But
this isn't the best
I don't know.
example.
In the studio,
I
you
don't
sound
know.
very, very, the angelic voice as usual, but can push people to buy. That's your voice in my, in my description. If I can perceive your voice or describe your voice, yeah, she's very beautiful. She has a very elegant, feminine voice, but in the subway, it will push you to buy the products or the programs that people sell,
I
especially the
certainly hope
luxury,
so.
especially the
That's what
luxuries.
I do.
So,
So yeah, everyone is going to have their own unique spin on content creation. I
mhm,
tend to do it from the lens of podcasting and
mhm,
video podcasting, but a lot of other people are going to do it in short videos. Like I've seen some of my colleagues, for instance, have started on their daily walks, just
mhm.
filming themselves on their daily walks with like
Yeah, yeah.
a headset on, right?
I
I've
started
seen a
to
lot of
watch
that,
that
and
also, especially on Instagram.
yeah,
There are many voiceovers show how they work, and then also
yeah.
even to do, how do you call it? It's like not only voiceovers. How do you call it? Like to be someone's character, to imit their
Like
character. How do you
character
call it?
voices,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
yeah, there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people doing that kind of thing. But what I mean more is like on their daily walk, they're
Mm-mm.
talking about aspects of the industry or things
Mhm.
that they find really interesting or
Mhm.
telling people not to be so hard on themselves or philosophical questions that they have on these early
Mhm.
morning walks that they're doing, for instance. And
Mhm.
it's very authentic and it's very unpolished, and it's just them on their daily walk. And I think that's awesome because
Mm-hmm.
that's who they are. And you're getting to see who they are, which I think is fantastic. So it just depends on what kind of content you're creating, what social media, if any, you're creating it for, and just put out what you feel you want to put out. That's up to them. But yeah, it takes time. So you will get better at doing it. It'll become easier the more that you do it.
And then, what about the AI role on the voiceovers industry? Because now it is very easy for the people to clone your voice, right? But I know
Hmm.
that it is also about the authenticity, but also about the legal that our, how do you call it? I call him like the showbiz, and then also the artist, and then also the not only content creators, all of the famous people talk to him with Gordon Fireman, right, about the legal of the voice.
Yeah,
So, what do you think
sure.
about the AI here, the AI role in the voice overs and vocals
Well, in
industry?
general,
Will it change
yeah,
one
we're
day?
yeah, we're having an interesting moment here right now
Mm-hmm.
in that the at least in the US, and I know in Canada we're also trying to do the same thing. We're
Mm-hmm.
trying to make it so that we own our own voices, because at this point, honestly, we don't, and it's really scary.
That's right.
So,
And most
yeah,
of voiceovers and vocals actors are from the agents, right? Not connect directly also to the brands or to the company when you explained to me before. So
yeah,
how do they
usually
get the
when I do a
protection that
job,
way? Mhm.
yeah, yeah. When I do a job, it's sometimes it's direct with the company, but oftentimes for the larger projects, it's through an agent. And so we don't actually meet or speak with the
Mhm.
end client unless they're on a call with us when we're recording the session. So, and again, we don't have any contact with them, nor are we supposed to be reaching out to them directly.
Mhm.
So that is a challenge of its own. But I think ultimately, big brands, especially, are going to be very cautious when it comes to using AI voices.
Mhm.
And the reason I say that is because authenticity is so important, especially in advertising. If you want people to buy something from your brand, you can't have your brand look cheap. And if you're using AI voices, and well, first of all, if you use AI voices and anyone can tell, it's going to look bad for your
Mhm.
brand. But if
That's
you
true.
use AI voices and then don't tell anyone and they find out later, that's even worse, because then people feel lied to. And that's big. That's huge when it comes to authenticity and being genuine for a brand,
Mhm.
because it says you're neither. So
Yeah,
that's
because
that's
your
not a
voice
good
can
thing.
be the brand also. You see, if you become the voiceovers and focus of a product, and it becomes
Yeah.
very famous and viral, and it lifts the, uh, for example, the value of the brand itself, then uh,
But
especially
it
if
does
they
that?
don't have the artist on it, like the real
Yeah.
artist to perform, like someone for, like the actor on the movie becomes a brand,
Mhm.
but this is like the voice only, so people recognize that voice, right? And then it will
Yeah.
be really,
Yeah.
really, I don't know how it will be in the future, but I think that it should be
Mm.
protected, Jody. Even though it is through the
Oh,
agent,
definitely.
and the artist doesn't connect directly to the brand or the company, but then it becomes a brand ambassador or something like that of the brand, right?
Yeah, it totally does. It's part of their audio brand, which is why I talk about that. But I will say, I don't think AI is all bad. It's not like I'm,
No, no. I use
upset
AI.
with AI.
It makes
Yeah,
it
I mean,
easier
I
for
do
me
too.
to create contents now, right?
Yeah,
It gives the
productivity
ideas,
wise,
yeah, the drafts, something like
yeah,
that. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, productivity wise, it's a great time saver. It really is. But when it comes to creating voices, and it's getting better, so this could change in 6 months. But right now, AI, synthetic voices, and I don't know if I see this changing. There's no soul behind the speaking. There's no lived experience behind the speaking. And unconsciously, and I even studied this on my podcast, there's a fellow named Joe Sauer. And if anyone wants to look him up, it's best to look him up on LinkedIn, actually.
Juice sour. How
He
do
is,
you pronounce or how do you spell this sour? Juice
I
sour.
believe it's Sauer.
Oh,
So Joe, Sauer.
mm-mm.
And he does experiments, neuromarketing experiments.
Mm-hmm.
And he has tested whether or not we can tell whether a voice is synthetic or not.
Mm-hmm.
And his findings were basically that consciously we probably couldn't. Consciously we couldn't really tell. But subconsciously we could. We from the heart of it, our gut feeling, we knew. And since a lot of sound influences us subconsciously rather than just consciously, it's a mistake to think that you're going to connect with your audience the same way using synthetic sound. And I mean, not always. You can synthesize some instruments and it's not going to be like we've been synthesizing instruments for years now,
Yes.
and it's never really been a huge issue. But you can tell the difference in some way between a real instrument being played and a synthetic instrument being played, no matter how good the samples are, because
Yeah.
they're not perfect. We are not perfect. And there's something to a soulless synthetic voice that just doesn't come through. The intention doesn't come through. The connection doesn't come through.
Yeah, we can feel
So
that also. Even though without face, without a character
yeah,
on the screen, right? Only the voice.
yeah. Now I know it's going to get better. I am not saying that it's not. It's actually also a viable way for voice actors to synthesize their voice and then
Mm-hmm.
license it out to specific people,
Mm-hmm.
as long as they have complete control over it. And I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. I've
Isn't that too
experimented with it
expensive for
myself.
that process for the legal to do something like that? It's
It
like a kind of
yeah.
insurance, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can be expensive, but it depends on who you're doing it through.
Mm-hmm.
There are companies that allow for it that are not expensive for the voice actor, and that's something that people should look out for if they're interested. But what it does is it makes a voice actor's job a little easier. So if we happen to be on vacation or we happen
Mm-hmm.
to be sick,
Mm-hmm.
then our AI voice can take over and replace a
Replace, yeah.
sentence in a longer form narration that we did 2 years ago, you know? So, there are good options for this, and I will never say that AI is all bad, but we need consent and control, and that's the big issue.
And I agree with it also because this is how I watch YouTube, right? With the dubbing. I don't know if the
Mhm.
video is from the other country with the other language to translate or to dub into English. But then I found out last week maybe I put on the status what they have on Facebook, sorry, YouTube, because I found out that the dubbing was a male, while the speaker or someone who was on the video is a female, right? It was really
Yeah.
terrible. You know, the quality of the dubbing voice really bad already, and then added with the different genders. So, oh, what the
Uh,
heck on YouTube? So I put it on the status.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I don't
And
want
sometimes
that to
it's just not well
happen with the
done.
voiceovers and vocals. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
I don't. For the time being, I disagree that so, if voiceover and vocals actor like you to be dubbed that way, I still love your voice. And
Yeah.
then on your podcasting and live streaming on Facebook also. So and then also on your website, and then also of course on YouTube. But then this is really really, I don't know where it goes. And then uh, now I would like to ask you to be a fortune teller, where it will go. So and then how long does it take to have all of the kind of protection of our own voice, especially for the professional like you with the world class advertisement and then luxurious branding.
Well, it's an uphill fight. I mean, there are a lot of big companies that are invested in making a lot of money off of what myself and my colleagues provide.
Mm.
And they don't want there to be stringent protections on it, to be honest. So it's kind of taking it outside of the realm of the big companies, because all of these big companies have sons and daughters. They all have relatives that
Mm-hmm.
their voice could be cloned just as easily as mine. There are older grandparents being scammed out of money because their
Yeah.
nephew or niece's voice is being synthesized and they're
Yes.
being called on the phone to send money for a car accident or something like this. Like,
Yes.
you hear this all the time.
Yeah,
Our
it happens
banks,
everywhere, not only on the Western
yeah,
country, right? In here, it
yes,
is
it
worse
happens
already.
everywhere. Yeah,
Everywhere.
it happens in banks. Our banks are using our voice
Yes.
print in order to get into our accounts. And if
Yeah.
someone can synthesize your
Yeah.
voice, well, there you go,
Just say
right?
agree or
So,
just okay, and that is really dangerous. I agree. But what
yeah,
about the
so there's
people?
a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's a lot of things that need to be done. Protections need to be put in place. I think what will happen is that some big company will sue, and it's that will set a precedent. And I think it's starting to happen, definitely, because people are getting wise to this.
Mhm.
And I hope it happens faster. But I think that AI and the synthetic voices out there are getting better exponentially every day. So 6 months from now, this could be a very different conversation.
Yes, I and then what about next year? 6 months is next year already, Jody. So we.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I don't think it's going to take very long. I really don't. The computers are learning very quickly on scraped data
Mhm.
that maybe they should not have access to.
And what about the voice for branding, especially for the small entrepreneurs and people who have just started, Jody? Is it important for them to start to do the branding with the voiceovers? Maybe they cannot afford to hire someone to be, you know, to create their brand voice. But then, what can they do? What is your suggestion?
Well, I think that AI voices will work in that case. If they were not going to hire a voice actor in the first place, it's not like I'm losing business,
No, of course not.
because
It
that's
is a
business I would
totally
never have
different
had.
level. Totally different level. We
Yeah,
talk
but
about
that's,
for the
you
startup,
know,
you know.
yeah, I understand that people are
Mm.
going to use the AI tools in order to get their brand out there. What I would say is that the moment that you can afford it, I think it's a good idea to genuinely make something that reflects your brand to humans rather
Mhm.
than to computers.
To computer, then to robot. And then, in your opinion, how can we start our voice and, of course, on the content and our brand if we have just
I'm
started, Jody?
I mean, just be you. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to get you the following that you want. You have to just go out and be you, because people are going to connect with you as a person as opposed to, any other thing, because they like you. So
Yeah, if
so just
they,
put
because
yourself out
I see
there.
other people have beautiful voice like you. What about me? I don't like my own voice. So if I am on the podcast, I don't want to listen myself actually.
Well, there are all sorts of ways to put out content. It
Mm.
doesn't necessarily need to be your voice, but I mean, it probably is a good idea because I don't think anything is wrong with the presentation that you're doing, but it gets better as you go. So you just have to learn where your
Oh,
strengths
thank you.
are.
To hear the
Yeah.
compliment from someone like you, it really, really makes my head big. Now I'm very proud that because you think that I reached the progress also. When people
We're all always improving.
thank you so much. Uh, you you see that's why I haven't uploaded my podcast also because of it. Then the video is okay, but on the voice when I listen to myself, oh my god! And then thought even try to assure me nobody likes your own voice. He said like that, but still.
It's true. A lot of people have a problem listening to their own voice, but you get
N-
used to it.
Not with you. I love you when you sing. I love you when you do the commercials. And then, how did you start it? If I may ask you, the beginning that you start the podcasting, because without the podcast, you are already very famous with the big luxurious brands, right? So, why you do the podcast? Is it for your branding also, or because you like to share with the people about your knowledge, your skill, your experiences? Because that is really
I
expensive what you share
started,
with us,
yeah,
actually.
I started because I was noticing that I was the last person brought onto a project.
Mm-hmm.
And as the voice person, that didn't make any sense to me because people weren't planning their projects with the
Mm-hmm.
sound in mind a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just unfortunate. So I started the podcast to raise all boats for all of us who work in sound, because what we do is important. What we do is the emotional context to the visuals. And that is where the heart of it is. So I think it's really important for people to pay attention to the sound. It's very easy to let it seep into the background and not pay attention to it because it's just everywhere. And we just don't pay attention to it as much as we should. So I wanted to talk about that aspect. But also I like interviewing people who hire voice actors because I want to understand what their pain points are,
Yep.
what they're interested in, where they're thinking sound is going. I want to know from them where they think this is all going to end up. And I frankly would love for them to think about it more. So I want to introduce them to my audience and I want to understand them better.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me, making good connections with my guests is really the most important part for me.
Including what they would like to reach for their products or brands by hiring a voice overs
Yeah.
and podcast actor, right?
Well, whether it's me or not,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be me, but just giving that some thought is a good idea.
I understand. And how do you pick your topics for your podcast or for your contents? Because it seems they are really, really structured, even though you say it is not that way, right? Sometimes you interview people and they give the different topics. So how do you manage those topics? Is there any special tricks and tips and plans or something like that? And how long do you plan your content?
Oh, I'm the wrong person to ask about that because I
That's
don't plan.
no,
So,
see, it works even
yeah.
though without planning. So it doesn't
No.
need
So,
to be planned for everyone.
uh,
Yeah, just do
honestly,
it.
yeah. So, yeah, just do it. I talk to people and I find out what they're interested in talking about, and then we craft the title after we listen to what came out, really.
Mm,
So, that's really it. And then also I split my hour-long podcast episodes into two parts.
mm,
So, a 30-minute and a 30-minute approximately. And that gives me more of a buffer zone. So I have 2 weeks of content from one interview. And that works really well for me. So we can sort of split the topics depending on what happens in the first part or in the second part, which may make it look a little more structured, but honestly,
that's
it's not.
why. So actually, That's why maybe you thought that I didn't pay attention to your content, but that's why I asked you. We don't talk about voiceovers today, and it's been a long time that
Yeah.
I don't interview people, right? And I need to update my book. You know, Rob Grindy has already given the forward for
Mhm.
me, so I really have to do it perfectly. That's why I need to update my content and how to create the perfect content. That's why I asked you to talk about creating content creation for our brand,
Sure. None of it perfect.
and this is
It's never
really really
perfect.
important for me.
Yeah.
And then so you didn't or you don't structure your content actually, especially the topics what people need and what you need, and will come up from the interview or for our chat. Just like us
Yeah.
when I asked you, it seemed that because you are the expert in everything, not about only on the voiceovers and vocals, but also on other content creation. That's why I asked you, Jyoti, would you be able to talk about content creation? And then I am
Mhm.
very happy that you can share with us also behind the scene or behind the screen of voiceovers and focus, and also about your podcast. And then may I know what is exactly you would like to reach or your biggest goal from your interviews and your podcast?
My biggest I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
uh, your biggest something that you would like to reach, your biggest goal or target with your interviews and then also with your podcast.
My biggest target? I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I'm not
it's like
understanding the question. Okay.
the goal for from your podcast
Oh,
and
the goal.
also the
Okay.
interviews itself. There are so many people who would like to monetize their podcast. There are so many people who would like to reach their potential clients and niches, right?
Sure.
So, and
Yeah,
what about
I mean,
you?
it's not about monetization,
Mm-hmm.
although if someone wanted to sponsor the podcast, I'm open
Mm-hmm.
to that as long as they have something to do with sound.
Yes.
But it's more for me about the relationships that I form with my guests, really.
Mm-hmm.
And also about talking about the power of sound, because I think that a lot of people take it for granted. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that people are paying attention.
And then, in your opinion, how does the power of sound will support or help the brand, especially for the influencers, the entrepreneurs, and the professionals in here?
Well, I think that sound, like I said before, gives us
Mm-hmm.
emotional context. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the heart of everything that we put out there. And if you're not paying attention to that, people are going to turn off your videos. So if your sound is awful, people aren't going to watch your videos. They may listen to a bad video if it's good sound, but they will never watch a good video if there's awful sound because it hurts.
As well as YouTube
So
with the dubbing.
yeah. So
Oh,
you just named a classic example there. It's really hard
mm-hmm.
to watch a video with bad dubbing.
Yeah.
That's a different gender. It's just
I
hard to watch.
and I am on YouTube
So
also right now, right? So
yeah, yeah.
I hope that
So I think
nobody
it's
will
very
protest my
important.
voice or my sound.
But I think it's hugely important. And I think a lot of people really need to pay good attention to it because it's going to upscale what they're putting out into the world if they do pay attention to their sound. And voice acting is part of that, definitely. But it's
Mhm.
not the whole picture. There's a whole lot of other sound things that should be paid attention to:
Yeah, the
the music, the
music,
sound
yeah.
effects, the echo in whatever you're putting out there. Like if you can hear everything in the room going on around you, that's not great either. So, it all depends. There's a whole lot of things that you can do to improve your sound, but it is important. And I think that a lot of people or more people should be paying attention to it.
And I agree with that. And also your statement that your voice is the heart of everything you put out there, and about the noise behind us. And we have already talked about your studio, and below you is your kitchen, and your husband sometimes cooks, and it is really really interesting to talk about something like that. I thought that the professional like you, a luxurious brand voiceovers, has the soundproof room, the studio, right? But then it is really funny
No,
when
it's
you
never
mention it.
perfect. It is never perfect. I wish it was perfect, but it is never perfect. So my booth
Mm-mm.
is right over. I'm on the
Mm-hmm.
top floor. My booth
Mm-hmm.
is in right over our kitchen.
That's why
So
it was really funny when you told me
unfortunately,
that. Oh, you see, you
yeah,
are very humble, down to earth, even though you are world class, voice hours and focus. Oh, there is something human about you. You know what I mean? Like when you are on the voiceover brand, like, whoa, you are like how do you call it? In the luxurious world, and then you talk about kitchen below you that it can make
every one
noise
of
when
us
you're,
has
yeah.
sound. We have sound challenges, definitely. Yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
all I do is I just make sure that my husband is not in the kitchen when I'm recording. That's
You
it.
see, that is really funny when you told me about that. Well, I thought that I am the
Yeah.
worst because I live in a big city with a really, really crowded people, 24 hours,
Yeah.
right? So that happened also in the Western advanced country, in our opinion. So, Jody,
Mhm.
oh my God, I thought that we have just started some minutes ago, but this is really interesting discussion always with you. And then, would you like to share with us also about when we have already started our brand, right? And then with the right voice, with the right sound, the right music, and then do we really need the editor for our podcast?
I think it
To
depends on what kind of podcast it is. I mean,
mm-hmm,
sometimes no, you don't need an editor. You could do it live in Ecamm or some other thing and then just put
mm-hmm,
it out into the ether and see what happens. I mean, it's probably really genuine that way. But I do personally have an editor because I wanted to put together something that I felt that I wanted to be proud of. And I have help doing that. So if you don't have help, I totally understand why you wouldn't want to do that because it's a lot of work.
that's true, that's true. And then also,
Mhm.
can you hear the security and other, what is it, digital nomad in the studio? Because I'm on the different studio today, on not on the studio that
Ah,
I am
I
usually.
can't hear anything.
Whoa, that's nice. I thought that because
Yeah.
it's very noisy here right now at midnight. Can you imagine that? Bali
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
sleeps 24 hours. Well, actually, this is the time for people to go to party, you know. But then we are here. I am
Oh,
here
yeah.
because I would like to share with the world what we can share for everyone to start their
Mhm.
content and to not feel discouraged if you have challenges like us. That's what I would like to deliver. And then, yeah, it's been an honor always to have you on my programs and my events also as a sponsor. And thank you so much for keeping your support for me and Live Podcast
Mhm.
Media, Jody.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
And then, do you have any message for others, for other content creators who start their branding with live streaming and podcasting, especially with the special voice like what you have here?
Just start. Just do it and then learn as you go because, doing it is how you're going to learn. So I highly recommend that you just start.
To not delay anymore. And then this is really golden nugget what you have shared with us today. All of the secrets of the voice hours and focus and how you produce the quality content for your podcast. And then, Jody, how can people reach you out easily and how?
The easiest place is my website, which is voiceoversandvocals.com.
Mhm.
And you'll find the podcast on there. But if you want to go direct.com.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Jody,
Oh, I hope
for
that went through because we froze.
yeah, a little bit surprising. Well, I have already told you that my bandwidth is much more better since the
Oh,
day one
uh-oh.
compared with before. So again, would you like to repeat it? It's getting hello.
Sure. It's voiceoversandvocals.com. And the podcast is at audiobrandingpodcast.com.
Audiobrandingpodcast.com. You see, it is really, really amazing that you can talk about
Yeah,
audio
it's
branding,
slowing.
about voice for your brand. So that is where you need to go. You have to go, actually, not need to go, but you have to learn from Jody Krangle about how to create the voice for your brand, the right voice that can assure people to buy your products and program, just like Jody Krangle do on their luxurious friend. Okay, Jody, thank you so much for being here today. And again, it's an honor to have you here. And I love you
It's
all,
an
and
honor
I'll
to be.
see you.
Okay.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye bye. See, I want to continue still. Okay, but we have to go. It is midnight already here. Almost,
Yes.
Cesar has to
I
go.
actually have something else at noon, so yeah.
Thank you. And I'll see you soon.
Okay. Great. Thank you.